Okay, folks, Paul Bates here, your favorite captain, and today we're going to talk about the process of buying that boat once you get in the market and you're in the market to buy the boat. Before we get started, though, just a couple shouts out there. Gary's just about got the 3888 Bayliner. He's just about got that all the way up the river, about a 1,000-mile run. He did have a little bit of a problem in Dinopolis. He had to change out the raw water pump. So wish him the best of luck in getting it up there. Harold's getting his boat ready to come down here to the Keys. Can't wait to see Harold. He just called me today, actually. We had the 3788 Bayliner. On next week's video, we're going to talk about why you can throw away the buck, and I think I'm going to name the video the $3 million Bayliner, because when Steve gets his hands on anything, it's over with. I mean, it's why you wouldn't really need the buck. And by the way, for anybody, Pete's on the other end of the camera, holding the camera today. Anyway, because we're both off today, actually. We're both here together.
And I want to say one thing. When he sells the boat, because he's not buying this boat to keep it, it better not be on the market longer than 5 minutes, and you better buy it quickly.
Yeah, I mean, you should have your name already if you're in the market for a year and a half from now, because he's going to just do some outrageous stuff to the boat. And next week, we're going to talk about that, why you can consider throwing the buck away, because, again, Andrew just found a Carver. He was out in the market. We did a couple surveys on a couple different boats, and finally he found a Carver that was just so clean and so, immaculate that he did pay a little bit over buck value for it. And the reason is because of the cleanliness and, the low hours, fresh water, all the reasons that you want to hear. And then why you should ignore the buck. Anyway, that's next week's video. We'll talk about it. And I'm going to do that from the Bayliner. And so maybe we'll get a before and after a year from now, because he's getting that boat ready to do America's Great Loop.
Yeah.
Anyway, today we're going to talk about the process of buying or looking for one of these old trawlers. And a couple things I want to start with is Yacht World and Boat Trader. Let's explain the difference real quick on that, because when you're looking for boats, you want to look at all the sources that you can. When Yacht World is a brokered boat, so you have to, if you see a boat on Yacht World that you like, it's listed through a broker. If you see a boat on Boat Trader, then it can be a private or a broker, so that one can go either way. But just remember that when you're looking at boats. Another good place to look at boats is, believe it or not, is Facebook. Yacht, they have different brokers. So if you're looking for the Bayliner, if you're looking for a Nordic tug, if you're looking for a trawler, whatever you're looking for, you just go to that group, and then they usually have yachts for sale or boats for sale. And then there's all kinds of different groups on Facebook. So it's a good source, a good place to go looking for boats. Another place that you can go is Craigslist is always one. And then any of your local boat yards, stuff like that, you'll see listings and stuff like that. But these are all just different ways to look at different boats, besides just Googling a boat for sale, and then one pops up on Boat Trader or one pops up on Yacht World. And that's the difference, because Yacht World is brokerage boats only. Boat Trader is people that own the boats, or people, it could be a broker too on that one. And then Facebook Marketplace, they'll do the same thing. You can market a boat, and you can be a broker, or you can be a private individual. So that's just giving you a couple of differences on that right there. So that would be the first thing you do. You need to find your boat. But then another thing you can do is, we've talked about this in videos in the past, hiring a broker and having a buyer's broker and all that stuff. I'm not a big fan of the buyer's broker per se. I'm more of a fan that if you're selling the boat, then that's the guy you need to call, whoever's selling the boat. Also, just for the record, I do have the 26. Scott just dropped it off for us, and we are getting that boat ready, and it will go on the market. It should be on the market here almost the same time this video goes out. So that's something we're getting ready for, and it's going to be somewhere around that mid 260, 270, 280 range with the trailer type thing for that 29 Ranger. Super cool boat. I've taken that boat from Fort Myers to Key West. Super cool boat. Anybody interested, just let me know. Anyway, moving on. So the first thing you need to do is find your boat. Now, why would you hire a consultant like me? And there's many of us out there. I'm not the only consultant out there. So just, do your research, do your homework, and
I know. Experience.
yeah, there you go. Good one, Pete. So Pete said, like he said, we live this lifestyle every single day. We live on a 44-foot trawler.
Let's see, we live
You
on.
can't show our mess. Are you
Oh
kidding me?
shit! We'll have to. You can. Ooh, you're right. Sorry.
Anyway, we live on this boat full time. We have for years now, and I just saw an ad, not an ad, one of my backstories on Facebook. We've been on the boat now for 3 years. I've been on this boat. Pete's been with me now for, I don't know, you've been on and off the boat though over the last 2 years. Yeah, on and off the boat. And we're down here in the Florida Keys. And I think we're both liking it, but we're also both at the same time where we could do some change at any time. So you just never know what's going to happen with us. But I think I'm enjoying it down here at Marathon, and we'll stick it out here for. I'm going to get through this entire season. I don't know if I got another summer in me. It was really, really hot out here, but we're going to do a remodel on it and get the air conditioner changed out, and then we'll probably be fine for another season out here, but get a season or two under us and then see what happens. Because I do love the Florida Keys, and I think Pete does too.
I do.
It's just expensive out here.
Yeah.
Anyway, so first thing you do is advertising. Hire your consultant if you're going to hire one. And my job as a consultant isn't just to talk to you. It's like you got that guy on your shoulder saying, do this. And you got the good one and the bad one. Well, I could be either one, but most likely I'm going to be the bad guy over here because I'm the one guy on your shoulder saying, look, that's not a good deal. That is probably a good deal. Let's put it under survey. Let's put it under contract. Let's you have an outside opinion beside yourself, and you're not buying with emotion. You're buying with facts and stuff like that. And so it just makes it smarter. And my job isn't really to, it's to talk you through it and also to try and save you money. So if there's a way somewhere in the contracts to save you money, I'll do it. You know what I'm saying?
Plus also to find out what you really want, because sometimes people don't even know what they want.
Yeah, you'd be surprised how many people will come out to the boat here. They'll visit me and Pete. We'll take them out for a ride in Southern Estate here. And it really gives them that feeling of what they want. They can see like this is a Europa-style trawler here. Is that something they'd be interested in? But it really gives them that a lot of our buyers have been out to this boat, or people even that we consult have been out to this boat and have actually gone for a ride in Southern Estate. And it's just something we do. And it really gets them to know the boat. Or we'll put them on, like even Scott, we put him on with somebody else on another boat that was doing America's Great Loop that wanted somebody at the time. And we put him on there with him so that he could get the experience for boating and stuff like that before he ever even purchased a boat. Yeah. So that's a lot of stuff that we do behind the scenes that nobody really sees or knows about. Anyway, and I'm not saying that can happen to everybody because it's all circumstances, times, the years, it's everybody's schedules and stuff like that. But sometimes they work out, and sometimes I do have people looking for crew, and we are able to get you on there. So it's just another plus. So now you know where to go look for your boats. You got to decide what brokers you're going to use. You got to decide how you're going to do it. But then another thing that you have to understand is when you're buying a boat, especially when you're buying one from an individual, one of the most important things that you need to know is the boat documented or state registered, or is it both? Then you need to check to make sure that boat has current documentation and current registration. If it doesn't, it's not a red flag, and it's not something. It is a red flag, and it should be dealt with immediately. Because the documentation is going to be the big one. That one can hurt you bad, especially when you're getting towards the end of the close. So you want to see that paperwork. You want to see that documentation showing current documentation and the dates. It should be clearly marked on your paperwork when you're looking at the boat. So it's just a quick little tip for you guys. If you're buying from an individual, just make sure that documentation is current, because if it's not, it's going to bite you in the butt later on in the deal. Because you can't close on the boat if he technically doesn't own the boat and you don't technically own the boat. The Coast Guard technically can take the boat over, and if it's not taken off of the register correctly and put back on the register correctly, that's when you can get in a lot of trouble with these deals. And so you got to make sure that that's it. And you could also hire an outside company that will check the registration and help you through the process of all that, which I've done it both times. One time we hired a company right here in Florida, and the next time Pete got online with Southern Estate here, and we hired an online company to do that, help us with the documentation and the title and all that stuff for Southern Estate. That's the way we did Southern Estate. So that's just something you got to remember and pay attention to, especially you guys out there trying to navigate this by yourself. I would recommend everybody to make that phone call and talk to somebody that's been through the process, at least, get some consulting, whether it's a family, friend, a friend of a broker, or somebody like that can help you a little bit and so that you have some clues of what's going on. And I don't think it hurts to talk to that person for a minute or two before you make a decision to buy one of these trawlers. Like I said, we talk a lot about the condition of these trawlers and stuff like that, like in last week's video. Next week, again, we're going to talk about why sometimes you can look past that buck value and why you might pay more than the buck value of the boat. But there is a report that they put out, and why everybody asks me this all the time: what is this report? So the buck, which is BUC value, that's what the banks and that's what the insurance company look at, and that's what your surveyor will look at to get a general idea of the condition of the boat and where it's at, where it's located. So when we go to put all the criteria in, it's the location. Is it freshwater, saltwater? Is it what engines it has? Is it diesel or gas? And then we put it in there, and then it'll pull the latest boats that have sold, and it gives us the actual prices that were sold according to the buck value. And then that's how the bank and the insurance companies values a boat. So that's something that when whether you're a Patreon of mine, whether you're a Patreon of mine, or whether you're YouTube, or you just pay for consulting, well, first thing we'll do is get you the buck value of that boat. So what is the charge for like a consultant? Let's just talk about that for a minute. So when you're hiring a consultant, my rate is $50 an hour, and that's for the phone. And then I'd have a $500 day rate, and that's for me to go out to the boat, because a lot of times afterwards we'll do yacht training and stuff like that. So we're doing next week with Steve. He closed on the boat this last week. A lot of bayliners last week, the 3888, the 4788, and then we lost, Larry lost the 4588. That one didn't go through, too much moisture in the hull and in the stringers, so we had to pass on that one. But lots of surveys going on right now, lots of boats being sold. I know there's lots of concerns out there, this market's crashing, blah, 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 but there's still, I'm still moving probably 2 to 3 to 4 boats every month. And that being said, anybody that has a boat, last week I talked to Tim over in Louisiana, the Fever, and that could be a nice boat for somebody, especially somebody getting ready to do the loop and wants a boat at the lower end of the price range, and because it's right around that $60,000 mark. Just a great loop boat. That one has the Perkins diesels in it. Super easy to maneuver with the twins in it. You rarely see that 40-foot boat with the twins in it. You always see it with the single, never really see it with the twins in it. That's the first one I've ever seen myself with the twins in it. So it makes it a very maneuverable boat. But anyway, long story short, so when you're out there navigating the market, you just got to be careful, understand what you're getting yourself into, and you got to have a budget. I'll always say that in everything. If you don't have the money to buy the boat to start with, then maybe whatever your budget is, it doesn't matter whether that budget's $200,000, $50,000. You got to have that budget. And then once you have that budget, then you just go after your boats, and then you got to make sure. But even if you have a $50,000 budget, man, you still got to have $20,000. Wouldn't you say, Pete? After you purchase the boat,
yeah,
for all the paperwork, the insurance, the registration, the documentation,
and just to get the boat off the dock.
Yeah, right. I mean, Southern Estate here again was probably right at it was $27,500. But by the time we left the marina, we were in the boat for $47,000.
Well over 40, yeah.
so it's like another $15,000-$16,000.
And then we just did another 20 or 30,000. So.
Yeah, and then I've done a couple of remodels on it, $20,000+ remodels on the boat just over the last couple of years. So, and all you got to have all that money in place before you ever even think about buying the boat. Whether you are financing in this new market today, financing's getting harder and harder. Interest rates are going up, so it's much better to be a cash buyer in this market than it is a finance market. And then, like I said, next week we'll talk about the buck value and whether you throw away the buck value or whether you use the buck value. Because most boats, I would say 90% of all the boats on the market, you really should stick to that buck value, because once you get to the boat and you find out, the condition that it's in, most of them should be sold at buck value or under. But then you also have those, what I call a museum quality type boat that could generate a little bit more money than that buck value. And that's what we're really going to talk about next week. Anyway, peace out, guys. Appreciate you all so much. Make sure you hit that like, subscribe, share it with your friends. And thank you guys. I can't do this channel without you guys. Next week we're going to do the video from another boat, actually, but going back to Gulf Shores where it all started 3 years ago. So anyway, getting excited about that.